The reason why people choose not to believe in Jesus is because they are still in love with the world. Now, using the world in this context to mean the demonic system underneath Satan's domain. I'm not saying that the one who is condemned loves the world insofar as the world represents humanity. I'm not saying that the one who is condemned loves the world insofar as the world represents the created cosmos. I'm saying the one who is condemned loves the world insofar as the world represents all that which is antagonistic to the character of God. I'm speaking of the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the boastful pride of life. I'm speaking of worldliness in the terms that 1 John speaks of worldliness. Or what we see in the very beginning in the garden in Genesis chapter 3. Eve, who is deceived by the serpent, she saw these three aspects of worldliness. She saw that the fruit, that it was good for making one wise. That is the boastful pride of life. She also saw that it is good for nourishment. Right? That's the lust of the flesh. She also saw that it was beautiful, appealing, attractive to the eyes. That's the lust of the eyes. That's worldliness. To be in love with the world in the sinful sense is to love that which stands in direct opposition to the things of God. It is the love of money, for instance. It's just one illustration and example. The love of money that is the root of all kinds of evil, not money itself. Job was rich. Abraham was rich. You can be rich and love God and not love money, but rather use money wisely to expand the kingdom. So love of the world is not the love of stuff. See, that's where Christians have messed up. Let me just make this point. It's important. We have conflated love of the world in the sinful sense that the Bible actually speaks of with the love of the world in the physical sense, insofar as the world represents the created cosmos and stuff. So we say, if you love stuff, you're worldly. And there's a sense in which if you love, truly, affections flowing from the heart, love stuff more than Christ, more than God, in an idolatrous fashion, then yes, you are worldly in the sinful sense of the term. But what we've done is we've conflated these terms. That word world is used at least 4 different ways just in 1 John alone. But we've conflated worldliness to the point where we've said, well, worldliness is the lust of the eyes, it's the lust of the flesh, it's the boastful pride of life, it's also just loving stuff. It's also, if you like to hike, you're probably worldly. And then what we've done is we've said, well, righteousness, we're going to define righteousness in the exact opposite way. And what does righteousness become conflated with, synonymous with? Pietism. So what does it mean now to be righteous? To be righteous is to care nothing for this world at all. Right? To not care about your country, to not care about your family, to not care about your posterity, to not care about your own descendants, your own grandchildren. Right? Because all that's worldly. To not care about creation. Right? So worldly means to care about temporal things, which means to be not worldly, to be righteous, is to not care, to only think of heaven. Right, that the only righteous thing that anyone could ever do is sit in a chair by themselves as the world is going up in flames and think delicious, romantic, erotic thoughts about God. That's your modern evangelical. And that would be called righteous. Whereas what that should be called is effeminate. It's effeminate. It's Gnostic. It's pietistic. And I'll be careful. It's not manly. I'll say that. And I don't mean manly as defined by Joe Rogan. I mean, it's not manly in the sense that it's not manly defined by Christ himself, who is the perfect example of biblical manhood. That is not the way that Christ lived in his earthly ministry.